Hey folks, it's Dustin DePirac coming to you live from the press room at the Coliseo de San Juan. Sorry I couldn't do this one on the court. There's people working on that, and I'm sure that you guys would obviously like to see some palm trees as well, but it's kind of dark out and I can't really do that. Anyway, point being, Indiana faced its first BCS conference opponent tonight and found out that it's a lot different from playing the teams they opened up with, a much different level of physicality, of athleticism than they'd seen to this point. Ole Miss team of some pretty big guys. Everybody that they 4 out of the 5 guys that they put on the starting 5 were 6'5" or bigger and 210 pounds or bigger. The only guy that was smaller was Chris Warren. He's a 5'10", 168-pound first team All SEC pick. So it's obvious that there was a major difference in physical and really mental maturity today. Just basically saw what happens when you have a more experienced team. Ole Miss obviously isn't extremely experienced. They lost a lot of guys to injury last year, managed to go 16-15 despite that fact. But it was clear that those guys were kind of at a higher level than what Indiana is playing right now. Now Indiana obviously took it to them, especially early. They were leaving 20-11 at one point. And we're really pushing the pace as they'd been trying to do, and Ole Miss was pretty surprised by that. I mean, Andy Kennedy actually said in the post game that he told us guys to expect an up-tempo approach, and but you can't really simulate even the speed that Indiana's playing at. So that really kind of serves as, I guess, a compliment to Crean's guys. But Ole Miss adjusted. Basically, Ole Miss slowed them down, went to a smaller lineup a little bit. Slowed them down at some points, tried to run with them at other points, and it also helped. Crean obviously sort of admitted that part of the thing that kind of took their momentum was that they subbed out a bunch of guys, brought Tijon in and some other players. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the entire shift change. But Jeremiah Rivers came out for a little bit, which was an issue because he was really pushing the pace extremely well. And I think maybe Verdell Jones came out as well. Anyway, there was it was kind of an important shift change, and they lost a lot of momentum. Ole Miss came back on a 30-5 run, which pretty much more or less put this one away. Indiana came back and made some adjustments in the second half, went to his own, slowed some things down a little, slowed Ole Miss down a little bit, kept trying to play it fast. Jeremiah Rivers kept taking advantage of opportunities, and they got it back to within 5, but Ole Miss then started finding some holes in the back of the zone especially. They were just basically sending dribble penetration up the middle. Guards were getting beat to the middle. The middle guy in the zone had to come up to play the ball, and they were sending cutters behind. In particular, Murphy Holloway, who had 26 points on 12 for 18 shooting, in large part because of that play. Basically, Enio Polonese came right through the middle, found Holloway cutting, and got basically easy wide open layups that way, which kind of put this one away. Again, Indiana was within 5 at one point, but then it got pretty ugly. It was double digits within a couple minutes of that, and Indiana never brought it back under double digits. So, basically everybody kind of looked at this one as a wake-up call, especially the forwards, especially the front court. Christian Watford, who had been averaging a double-double, went 2 for 10 from the field, scored 5 points. Derek Elston, obviously been playing well, averaging 12 points, went 1 for 6 from the field for 3 points. Tom Pritchard had some struggles. He did a couple things well, 8 points, 8 rebounds, but also had his issues. And really, the front court guys really kind of found out what kind of players they're going to be dealing with when they deal with big league opponents in places like the SEC, but also eventually in the Big Ten when they get back into conference play. And Tom Crean was happy with some things. Obviously just the fact that they played the sort of pace they wanted to play a lot and played with a lot of energy for the most part. But of course there were also some bad things. 21 turnovers is maybe one of the 2 really ugly numbers. They also were 12 for 27 at the free throw line, which obviously they understood and said multiple times it's unacceptable. So those were obviously some of the down points. Some good things to take away from this one, some bad things to take away from this one. Obviously does show that this team has a long ways to go before it's the equal of some of the powerhouses in the BCS conferences. They're really going to have to scrap and really going to have to make some smart decisions to stay in these sorts of games. And obviously they're going to be playing a lot of them with not only the Big Ten, but some big games coming up, depending on who they play. They got Boston University tomorrow, which was a little bit smaller conference level opponent. They sort of lucked out on the draw there. But then after that, they'll probably be playing somebody, from much higher up. A lot of really good teams in this conference, in this tournament. Been some really good games today. George Mason almost beats Villanova. Dayton beats Georgia Tech, and then Kansas State just beating BU. So Indiana's in for in for a difficult week, and then moving forward from that, they've obviously got a lot of tough non-conference games beyond that. Maryland, Pittsburgh, Kentucky, all in those first couple weeks of December. So they're going to try to learn from this one, find out how exactly they're going to deal with these sorts of teams that are going to be of a higher caliber level of athlete. Some other things going on. Matt Roth injured his foot yesterday in practice. Outlook not really good for that one. Tom Crean wouldn't come out and say, okay, he'll be out this long, or he'll be out that long, or it's broken, or it's this, or it's that. He wouldn't, release a specific diagnosis. Did say he didn't feel particularly good about it, and said it was pretty likely that there will be surgery when Roth returns to Bloomington. So that's an issue. They lose a, three-point guy. Might not be their best all-around player, but they have enough of a shortage of outside shooters to begin with, and that's proven to be an issue. Dumas can obviously hit it, Maurice Creek can hit it, but that's not really the forte of Jeremiah Rivers or Doug Jones. So out of the four guards that are really playing major minutes, that's an issue. So that's something that could be a problem going forward. Another small detail: Will Sheehy. We asked Tom Crean about to give us some idea of what he thought about him, but he said he couldn't really talk about it yet. Apparently they don't have the letter, probably because it probably came in after he left for Puerto Rico. And so that's about it. Obviously be in Puerto Rico the rest of the week. We'll be back live chatting tomorrow, and be putting a whole bunch of stuff on the blog. So stay with us. Hope you can join us for everything. And thanks a lot.